So even like in the last couple weeks, there's just been something about whether eh, so I do this a lot, and you probably do this where we have um, kind of ways that we might study or read stuff that just helps us to kind of just, yeah, figure out being healthy and happy. But then there's the doing of it, like, well, okay, how do I then live this, right? Um, so this is going to go back and forth a little bit of like studying things and then formal practice time. Um, and I find that if I don't actually practice, if I'm just because I have like Dharma books and stuff that I can read, you know, articles, stuff that I can study. But it feels a little funny after a while if I'm not then, doing it, really stopping and like, okay, now I'm going to see what happens when I actually practice this stuff. So like, if I stop, you might notice this if you stop. And as we do, I love how in this class, how we do our kind of pre-meditation practice. So if you say to yourself, okay, brought myself here. I'm gonna, I didn't come here to just sit and keep thinking the same old thoughts, right? The same looping, blah, 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 you know. So, okay, I didn't come here to do that. So I'm gonna sit. And as I stop, now I'm gonna just have you maybe take some deeper breaths. And this is just in a way what works for me is just like there's something about this word or this practice of deep. Like when I take a deeper breath, it moves deep and I get an experience of what I'll just call depth. And it's pretty reliable, for myself of like, it's always like a good thing to do. Like if I just take a deeper breath, I don't usually regret that. And it takes me deeper into the body. It might take you deeper into this present moment experience. And then we just feel this sense of grounding. Um, when you are feeling like, just feel grounded. A really good way of feeling grounded is stopping like this. You know, you could practice feeling grounded if, um, you're doing something else, but there's just something complete about really feeling grounded. You stop like this. Even taking in like the sound of the bell. You could say to yourself, I'm practicing moving into this present experience. Like, could I then create a little more space? when we bring in some space, even like inside of your mouth, kind of relaxed. Just like an uprightness when you're bringing yourself upright. It's a way of saying, I am doing this, I'm taking this practice seriously. This stopping, this putting everything down. You might notice right away it's hard to put everything down. You might doubt, like, oh, why would I do that when I have so much stuff to do? But right away, there's also maybe a feeling of this decrease of tension or stress just by being here. It's so simple, just a person sitting. It's kind of sweet, balanced combo of I'm upright, I'm aware, mind is bright, and relaxed. There's a natural, relaxed quality when you're completely here. Maybe sense like your skin, like your face could soften. You can choose to soften your face. Your mouth, again, just keep going back. And if we're experiencing a deeper and deeper relaxation, we have to keep going back. I'm letting go. I'm going to soften my throat. Softening my throat. What does stillness feel like? What does it feel like today or in this moment? When the mind is clear, we're just letting things be just as they are. Often we're in a way saying, like, no, I want things to be different. And that is an underlying tension that we can carry with us. Right now, being with things just as they are. It kind of is a paradox. It's said that once we fully accept things just as they are, that's when change can really happen. Bring awareness to your belly. You're tuning in and listening, feeling deeply in your belly. Or even that's just really simple awareness of your lips. What does it feel like to bring awareness to your lips? Even say to yourself, I'm softening, letting go of tension around my lips. That's all I'm doing right now. There's a strength that we wake up that leads to the space around the heart, the chest. You might feel like I'm practicing, I'm opening this space in my chest and my throat very intentionally. So I like to recognize how it does take, I would say, even a measure of like courage just to really come really face to face with what all is going on in our mind and our heart. Um, yeah, because we might feel like, you know what, I can't even look that deeply. It's hard. Um, because, we might see these things that I would just say are almost like weighing on us. Like, oh, there's this, and then there's that, and there's the, and and this is really the human condition in a way of all of these things. And in our world now, I mean, there's this, it's complex. It's almost like there's pressures or, I mean, sometimes someone will say like, "Oh, have you read this book? It's really good." And I'm like, "Oh God, another book to read." And and I want to, I want to have read that book so bad. But I find like this practice, what has been like a surprise is like, oh, maybe I'll read that book. Wow. And I just am lighter around, I don't need to take that on as yet another thing I want to do. And, if we really open this up and look at it, kind of all of this stuff that we just get like, oh my gosh, and I want to do, things you want to do in your home or want to fix. And I gotta do that. I mean, it could lead to deep anxiety, right? And it does a lot of the time. So if we, it's almost like we don't really know what's going on. And like, I'm just feeling the weight of all of these. And you know, when I do one of them, when I choose one, if I'm doing that, I just feel like I should maybe be doing something else. It's like I can't even do one thing without feeling like, all of this other stuff looming. Um, so I'll share like one story. Like I said, like how doing like just our time here when we're just stopping, almost taking a time out, what amazing fruits can come from this work. So this was many years ago, and I know this is just kind of a silly little story, but I just couldn't believe how profound it felt. So this was back when, speaking of reading books or watching movies, like if someone says, "Hey, have you seen that movie?" Or um, so this was back in the day when you used to get DVDs through the mail. Do you remember? Like it was like Netflix, and you would get DVDs in the mail, right? And you could pick, go online, and I think I would get three. And so at any given moment, I'd have these three DVDs sitting there, like when am I going to watch them? And, there they are. They're part of my looming stuff that I want to do. And this was back when my daughter was young. So it was like, I have less and less time to even do something like that. So this could be just ripe, it could, just be a recipe for lots of anxiety. But I remember this was back when I was really getting into both yoga and meditation. And I walk in and I see my three Netflix DVDs. Remember the red packages? Um, and I see the DVDs sitting there. And I looked at them and I thought, I can imagine this little queue of things I might get to. And the DVDs were kind of at the end. And I just had this really light reaction or response of like, maybe I'll watch those. Maybe I'll just send them back. Maybe I'll discontinue my Netflix subscription, But it was such a light reaction to the point where I almost laughed, at how, I mean, yeah, it was kind of wow. I can't believe that I didn't feel frustrated, like I'm never going to get to watch those. I'm, oh my gosh. And I have this to do, and to have it kind of, the cascading effect. And it was just the opposite, you know. I felt so light, and just clear. Like, well, I'm doing this right now, and especially this kind of time of my life, having to take care of this kid and like, yeah, it's okay. Um, so when we are doing formal work like this is why we often give these cues of like, I am practicing putting things down. And then when I choose one thing, I can have a deep experience with that one thing. And so we move from I'm just using these words. This is how it's felt lately in my practice and my teaching is like from a feeling of heavy, the burdened feeling to moving into depth. Like I'm able to experience um, a knowing experience of moving deep into something without getting all distracted and impatient, like, oh gosh, I got to finish this up because I got to move the other thing. So in this way, I feel like this is almost these teachings have felt like a little secret that's been handed to me. Like there's another way of being in this busy, almost frantic world, you know. Um, and so we are mindful of what we pick up. And I mean, I can feel that kind of that friction of like, but I'm missing out on not reading that book, not watching that. And like, that's right, can't read all the books. And that's okay, right? Because I'm aware of what's actually really important is to just be at ease and move deeper into this present experience. I just ran across this quote of if you've, speaking of reading books, or know of the teaching of the power of now, written by Eckhart Tolle. Um, it's just this kind of sweet little sharing that he gave. He says, we were born with silence. And as we grew up, we lost the silence and we were filled with words. We lived in our hearts. And as time passed, we moved into our heads. Now, the reverse of this journey is enlightenment. It is the journey from the head back to the heart, from words back to silence, getting back to our innocence in spite of our intelligence. And I just appreciate that we think of like our intelligence, like this mind that wants knowledge and another book. Yeah, so we see like, well, what's really going on here? Can we move even just like for now, for like this time of practice that we'll do right now, can I practice like letting go of words? Like, oh, I didn't know there was an option. So if you want to settle in and find your posture here, that it is just a comfortable, make sure, like however you are, whether you're, really sitting upright or you're, slightly like kind of released or relaxed, that it no, the mind can stay alert. So again, it might be a couple deeper breaths, knowing I'm moving into practice time. We might keep instructions then really simple, fewer words. Notice that you're breathing. This has been like pretty tried and true instruction. So we're all breathing. We usually don't give much attention because we're usually thinking. And as you just feel your breath, you might feel breath moving through your nose. Or notice the breath is moving through your throat. The softness in the throat, even the throat is quiet. You're not talking out loud, not even really talking to yourself. So this frees us of any harsh words. Quieting. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. Feel, inhale, and feel my exhale. You don't have to breathe deeper, but being aware of the breath can take you deeper, deeper into the present. The mind is really fast. You might notice suddenly you're thinking about something, and that's okay, it's going to happen. You might notice, like, oh, feel, To bring awareness like anywhere in the body. Feel your feet, your imagine or sense space around your heart, an open quality. You're kind of playing with this. Not even aware, like, I am usually not this deeply aware of my body. I'm really spending some time in my body. Natural, calm, so natural state of being. Bringing awareness maybe like way down into the belly. It's really easy to hold tension in the belly. Mm-hmm. This is how your nervous system works, is you can choose. It's like sending a message, an impulse into your body that is telling the body to relax. No threat, no imminent danger. Oh, I can relax deeply and completely. And it's a different relaxation than like relaxing your muscles so that you're like laying in a heap on the floor. It's a deeper, state of calm. Sometimes it can help to, if it feels like, ah, just keep getting distracted, is to take a deeper breath. Yeah, if I take deeper breath, it can move me deeper in. The more you breathe, the deeper you breathe, the deeper you feel. I'm interested in feeling it all. even your eyelids. This can feel really good around your eyes. So soft. In a way, this has nothing to do with like falling asleep. Mind is really bright. And the repetition is important. Aware of your lips. Aware of stillness. Remember, sometimes there might be a very natural little movement, like a rocking, that happens. If you're aware deep in the body, there's these movements, these waves of breath, natural rhythm of breath. Heart is beating. Aware of your belly. Imagine just this softening and letting go of tension. And this happens very like drop by drop, just a little bit. But even one or two drops can feel quite profound. I like to have just even these, last little couple minutes of, yeah, just reflecting on is such a unique, teachings and practice of what we're doing here, and that it's every time we do this work, like we never know like what it's going to feel like, what we'll learn. So just appreciating and even letting go of any ideas of like success or failure, but rather just there's any amount of just stillness that we tasted, really appreciating that.